to the class or to young people in general. This year it is our honor to have our inspirational speaker to be our very own mayor. And at this time, I would like to invite Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft to the podium.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ithaburn. And good morning, everyone, and congratulations to the Alameda High class of 2022. I'm going to take the microphone so I can speak to you, so audience, please excuse my back or my side, but this is their day-to-day, right? So as your mayor and a fellow Alameda High grad, I am delighted to participate in today's ceremony. It is such an honor to join you and your families, Alameda High faculty and staff, AUSD leadership and school board members to celebrate the class of 2022. Looking out at all of you makes me think of my high school years, although back in those days, I was a shy, nerdy girl who could never have imagined becoming the mayor of the city where I grew up or standing in front of you today without fainting or something. So be open to possibilities and say yes to opportunities, even if they scare you. Although much has changed since I attended Alameda High, I think my class also felt the same hopes and dreams, fears and anxieties that you're experiencing. So from one hornet to another, I want to share some advice that I wish my younger self had known that may help guide you as you embark on an exciting new chapter of your life. First and foremost, take care of yourself. Pay attention to your physical and mental health. Eat healthy food and get enough sleep. Find ways to manage stress. Take a walk, go for a run, hang out with friends, walk your dog, and please, seek help if you're feeling overwhelmed, depressed, anxious, not yourself. Tell someone. Be kind. Make it a habit to reach out to people who might be struggling. Look for someone who could use a smile, a hello, someone to sit next to. Give others the benefit of the doubt and extend that same kindness and forgiveness to yourself. Speak up and speak out when you see or hear something that you know isn't right. A racist joke, a hurtful remark, bullying behavior. Your speaking up might also inspire others to follow your example. Be curious about the world around you. Keep reading the news, and if you have the opportunity to travel, take it. Be curious about other people. Ask the follow-up question. Tell me more about that. Help me understand what you meant. Be a good citizen. And what does this mean? While citizenship can certainly mean being the citizen of a country, I encourage you to think about the concept more broadly, to include being engaged in your community, serving others in whatever way you can, being involved in something bigger than yourselves. Good citizens are involved in their communities and care about what happens to the people around them. Citizenship, when viewed from this perspective, can provide a valuable sense of purpose and direction. At a minimum, register to vote the minute you're eligible and vote in every single election. Yes, yay! Don't believe that about low turnout stuff. Here in Alameda, we are above average when it comes to voting, and you will be too. Some of you might have even voted this week. Make sure your friends and family vote too, and volunteer for causes and candidates you believe in. Don't accept the status quo. Run for office. We need your fresh ideas, perspectives, and enthusiasm as we continue working to achieve the promise of a more perfect union. It is a truism that every generation faces its own unique challenges, and your generation has already faced many. You've experienced a pandemic and the loneliness and isolation of Zoom school as our country and the world faced upheaval. racial injustice, climate change, the war in Ukraine, gun violence. But every challenge also shapes leaders who resist, fight back, and inspire others. Like Volodymyr Zelensky, you might be one of them. So I am confident that you are equal to whatever challenges you encounter going forward, because over the last couple of years, I have watched with awe and admiration as you've confronted injustice, demanded change, and found constructive ways to serve your community. Class of 2022, I'm so proud of all you've accomplished so far, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. And remember, you always have a home in Alameda. Congratulations again to you and to your families. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here today.
The Director of Secondary Education, Vernon Walton. Our Assistant Superintendent, Kirsten Zazo. And our leader here in AUSD, Superintendent Pasquale Scuderi. Thank you to all of you for joining us today. Alameda High graduating classes traditionally have 4 speakers, student speakers, representing the students' experience over their 4 years here in Alameda. Today, first speaker is this year's valedictorian. It is my pleasure to introduce Jiajun Juo. Hold on. We'll get that on in just a second, Gia.
Hello? Good. Check. Good. You're working. I'll just take it. Okay. Check. Greetings, Hornets. It's time. It's been too long. I remember the last time I was here at a graduation, I was over there playing Pomp and Circumstance. Now I'm here, on the podium, giving a speech. To our loving families, teachers, faculty, and everyone else who has supported us on this journey. Thank you so much for making this possible for us. To the most wonderful, most resilient class of 2022, I have one final message before we graduate. In computer programming, an exception represents a situation that is exceptional. A problem with a program that we can and should handle or catch. For example, we can easily fix an arithmetic exception which the program throws when dividing by 0. We double check our code to ensure we never divide by 0. In contrast, an error represents a situation that is so disastrous that we should not fix it. For instance, a Stack Overflow error is when a program piles tasks on top of each other, so much so that it gets overwhelmed and burnt out. I guess I forgot to utilize its mental health days, left parentheses. Meanwhile, ducking an exception means passing the problem up the chain of execution, telling the next method, it's your problem now, not mine. Delaying the inevitable, procrastinating. But if no one catches the exception, the program will crash. So we should catch these exceptions early on, before they grow into a giant problem, crashing down upon us. Throughout our 4 years in high school, we have faced numerous exceptions. Academically, our teachers assign homework, summer tests, and again pop quizzes. The College Board scheduled AP tests, SAT tests, wait, cancel that. SAT tests, wait, cancel that. And SAT tests, wait, cancel that. And also SAT tests. Some of us dealt with additional exceptions to their learning. We've caught them all quite well. As hard-working, diligent, dedicated students, we showed our best effort and finished these tasks, caught these exceptions. Hopefully you did, since you're all here. The world caught an exceptional exception in the spring of our sophomore year when COVID hit. We handled it with quarantines, mask mandates, and later vaccines. Plenty of us handled the loss of a loved one. Additionally, the transition to online learning threw even more exceptions upon us. Zoom, new bell schedule, continuous new bell schedule, lack of social connection, new bell schedule, and lack of motivation. We adapted to learning new technologies, appeasing Google Classroom, all while still figuring out how to continue learning or teaching content digitally. And we handled it. The whole world handled it. This past year, for those of us who plan to attend college, we stressfully applied to multiple colleges, ducked writing essays, procrastinated submitting materials up until the final day. Yet we handled it. Then we waited. And waited. And waited some more. Then the results rained down on us. We accepted the acceptances, waited out the waitlists, and dereferenced the rejections. Although we are receiving our diplomas today, we still face and must embrace an onslaught of exceptions. Wherever life leads each of us, life will throw us even more exceptions. It is up to us to catch them. Before we complain though, we must remember to spread positivity that negativity sucks. Life throws much more fixable exceptions than unfixable errors. Let's not duck these problems for our future selves. Figure out what the exception is and catch it as soon as possible. We can't fix our problems if we don't know what they are. So, guys, gals, and pals, congratulations on graduating from high school. I'll miss all of you, but I hope that you will do well in life and catch whatever life throws at you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jae-Jun. Our next speaker is one of those students who reminds educators that we have the opportunity to continue to be lifelong learners just by listening to the ideas, thoughts, and questions of our students. I would like to bring to the podium Alameda High School salutatorian for the class of 2022, Alexander Waldman.
Hello? Okay, one more round of applause for the valedictorian. All right, this is a lot more people than I thought were going to be here. I didn't think I was going to draw this kind of a crowd. You guys came all the way out here just to hear me speak. It's an honor. They even got my whole class out here too. Look at them in their cute little Jedi robes. They're all cute. But yeah, a lot of people here. You know that saying where it's like, if you're feeling nervous, imagine the audience in their underwear and you're going to feel a lot better. Well, let me tell you, boy, oh boy, is it working. Hello, administrators. But let's start things off right. Hello and welcome to the graduation ceremony of Alameda High School's class of 2022. I am incredibly honored to be speaking here, and I would like to thank you all for coming out to support us today. Our friends, our families, staff at Alameda High, our previously mentioned good-looking administrators, whoa, and most of all, our graduates. So when I first started thinking about this speech, I really wanted to convey an authenticity in my words that accurately reflected what I've learned in my time here. But it's a bit of a struggle, I won't lie, especially with Mr. Ithaburn practically on his hands and knees begging us to keep it short. But you know, is it really possible to boil down some of the most significant formative years of my life to a speech where I imagine the principal in his underwear? Can I catch lightning in a bottle and effectively distill my becoming an adult to a couple of insightful expressions? Can words accurately describe the evolution of the soul? All of this is to say that when I began writing last night, I had a lot going through my head. The following speech is my attempt at saying things that I think are relevant to the graduating class, but let's be honest, it's a work in progress. At the risk of sounding serious, one thing I'd like to talk about is the beauty of being at our low points. There's this movie called The Truman Show, where the main character Truman, played by Jim Carrey, has been living his life totally unaware that his every action has been chronicled by a TV show. So every relationship he had ever formed had been with a paid actor. Every aspect of his existence was a part of a massive TV set. At the beginning of the movie, he's totally unaware of this. He has a mundane job, follows his daily routines to a T, and he feels content. But to summarize quickly, the story follows Truman as he discovers his life has been a massive lie, propagated by all of those he thought he knew and loved. He's devastated, and rightfully so. But over time, he turns this devastation into a will to escape his televised prison, despite knowing nothing of what lay beyond his cushy TV set existence. He breaks out with determination, eager to become who he wants to be. I think it's a pretty cool movie, and it may or may not be related to what I'm going to say next. Nothing can spur reinvention quite like your world falling apart in front of your very eyes, and we're all going to be there at some point, if not already. Maybe not at the same scale as The Truman Show, but it'll certainly feel like it. Whether we're second-guessing our major in college, or feeling as if we've committed ourselves to being some cog in a corporate machine, or struggling with personal relationships, we're all going to feel totally lost. In order to make it through the times that break you down, it is crucial to shed any preconceived notions you have about how things are supposed to go. If you become comfortable with a life of aimless complacency, as Truman had at the start of the movie, you will not be prepared to deal with real adversity. Likewise, if everything you do is centered around becoming some idealized version of yourself, you're not going to know where to turn if your plans blow up in your face. It's hard to realize the opportunity the world has to offer when you can't see past the walls of the box you put yourself in. This is not a "your dreams are destined to fail" speech, but don't be shocked when your path takes a sudden left turn. Even if we end up going to our dream school or landing our dream job somewhere down the line and everything is on the up and up, we shouldn't delude ourselves into thinking that we're set. No matter where we find ourselves on the ladder, life is still life, and it's gonna suck a good amount of the time. So basically, don't expect happiness or a sudden easiness to everything, even when you find yourself doing what you want to be doing. Rigid expectations are our downfall. But jumping back to our lives falling apart, it is when we are unsure of ourselves that we take stock of everything around us and understand what we truly value and prioritize. Doing so sets the stage for our becoming who we are meant to be. Now, I wouldn't take this as a recommendation to seek out pain and frustration to find out what you're really made of, because I'm sure we'll all get our fair share of that. No need to rush. Life works in mysterious ways, and through all of its peaks and valleys, until the very end, Hornets, we are all works in progress. Watch The Truman Show. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2022.
Thank you, Alex. I've never been so touched as to have a student say they listened when I said keep their speeches short. It's nice to know that you guys do listen sometimes. All right, over a student's 4 years, year life at Alameda High School, they have so many opportunities to explore, grow, and develop as leaders in their own community. Our next speaker did just that by serving all of Alameda High School as this year's Associated Student Body President. It is an honor to pass the mic to Kristen Wong. Kristen has asked for me to turn the podium because she would like to address the seniors. So we will be doing that as Kristen comes up.
4 years ago, I gave the salutation to our class and made it my mission to return back here as we began yet another new chapter of our lives. This is such a surreal moment. A special thank you to Miss Hips, Miss Gwen, Joe from the School-Based Health Center, Jess, Quinlan, and my family and friends who have positively shaped me to become who I am today. Originally, I was going to talk about mental health and gratitude. Although both are important to me, I cannot give up this platform to promote peace within ourselves and our world when there is something bigger we are struggling to address. Complacency. Have you ever thought about how narrow-visioned we all are? Whatever you sacrifice, however you treat others, whatever you do, it seems like it doesn't matter as long as you arrive to this outre idea of success. For many of us, I think we have begun to realize how perfectly bubbled we are living in the Bay Area, and even more so on this island. But in fact, currently, there are 23 wars going on, 552,830 Americans homeless. 22 states have laws restricting the rights on the woman's bodily autonomy. 214 mass shootings have taken place so far in 2022 in the US. And 41,415 species are endangered. These numbers were taken 2 weeks ago, so unfortunately, I can guarantee you they all have gone up. If that wasn't personal enough for you, your classmate is struggling with mental health, Your friend is assaulted and your coworker has an addiction. And for some reason, as much as we hate to admit it, we look the other way. We stay complacent, quiet, and ultimately unbothered. And why? Because often we don't think it affects us. Whether you are staying in Alameda or are venturing off to other states, even countries abroad, go into the next chapter of your life begging the question, what are you doing for others? I really have thought about this during the college decision process and what kind of person I wanted to become. With aspirations to go into women's health, I plan to head to one of the most restrictive states regarding reproductive health, knowing that I could make real-time impact. You see, as much as I want to take this moment to celebrate 12 years of academic achievement, I want to challenge you to think about your goal for the years beyond and begin to decipher what really matters to you. I implore you to not stay silent, to stand up, speak out for the good of others, to be thoughtful and honest with yourself and your actions, to seek uncomfortable conversations, ask for consent, surround yourself with people who inspire you, demonstrate empathy and compassion, and actively forge for the truth. I want to recognize Paxton Smith, current UT Austin sophomore and deliverer of her high school graduation speech, who inspired this message of confronting complacency. If you haven't seen her speech, I would highly recommend looking it up. With that, I bid my congratulations to the class of 2022, and I thank you for allowing me to serve as your ASB president. Go be the next change makers of the world.
Our next speaker is also asked to direct their comments to the graduates, so I'll come over here to introduce her. Last year, the class of 2022 selected this student to serve and lead the class through their senior year. The year before, they chose this same student, the year before, this same student, and the year before, this same student. Four-year class president, Elvira Liu.
All right, before I begin, can we do a big round of applause for the three speakers that we've had so far? These are some really hard speeches to follow, so I'll do my best. I want to start with a big hello to the parents, teachers, faculty, staff, and friends, and especially the class of 2022. My name is Elvira, and I am so honored to have served as your class president. For some reason, that title alone makes me qualified enough to speak to you today, so I'll do my best to impart whatever nuggets of wisdom I have. For weeks, all of you have been complaining to me about how ready you are to leave your cringy memories, awkward and unresolved disputes, and confusing relationships behind. But before you rush forward, I want you to slow it down and look backwards. You won't want to leave high school with any regrets, would you? So, I have for you a trick to imagine all those awkward moments. Tell yourself that it'll be a funny story later. Like that time I called Mr. Holmes' mom in class, or when I failed to park in front of the entire leadership class 3 times. It was really embarrassing in that moment, but it's really funny to me now. A day later, a week later, and especially looking back, I realized that my mistakes were never that serious. So when a friend showed up 30 minutes late to an AP test, I pat her on the back and I told her it'd be a really funny story later. And now look, it's material for my speech. I love you, Owen. Everything, given time and some perspective, isn't as bad as it feels in the moment. So let's learn to laugh at ourselves. All those awkward moments are now just funny stories. Like when I binge read the entire Twilight series in middle school. So awkward now. But hey, I loved it then. Just like how so many of you are addicted to TikTok or cyberstalk your favorite K-pop idols, these funny stories aren't always just moments, but longer periods of time that we call phases. Even if something is okay now, you are going to look back and cringe, and that's okay. We as people are always changing, and therefore, when you look back, you are going to hate yourself, regardless of how you acted. So don't miss an opportunity to have fun purely out of fear of regretting it later. As people, you are bound to make mistakes. In fact, I hope you make mistakes, and I hope you laugh at all of them. I hope you like things, and I hope that they are all incredibly embarrassing. So let's go all in, let's make every mistake possible, go through every phase, and use all that TikTok slang. But instead of looking back with regret, I hope in the future you can look back, laugh, and realize how much you've grown. However, seniors, there is one regret that you can laugh off, and that is saying thank you. None of us got here alone. Someone had to teach us to tie our little bunny ear shoelaces. Someone drove us to practice every day, and someone dusted us off when we fell and pushed us to keep going when we felt like we couldn't. And maybe that someone isn't perfect, and I mean, nobody really is, and maybe that someone isn't here today. In that case, I hope you can keep them in your thoughts and find your own way to express your gratitude. Parents, guardians, mentors, teachers, classmates, friends, and anyone who has lent a helping hand, showed us love, given their valuable 2 cents. On behalf of the class of 2022, thank you for touching our lives. And soon to be graduates, if that someone is on the field today, remember to say thank you. That is about all I can give you now as a soon to be high school graduate, and maybe in 10 years, I'll have some better wisdom to impart. Congratulations, parents, teachers, staff. Today celebrates your efforts too. And to my class of 2022, the next time we all meet, I hope you can tell me all your funny stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvira. At this time, I would like to invite our leader from the district, Mrs. Guderi, if you'd like to come to this podium. I'm going to put the other one back in place.
Thank you. What an absolute pleasure to be with you here today, parents and families. First, let me start with you. I know the last 3 years have been no proverbial picnic. Your flexibility through this time of uncertainty, your patience with us and supportive students is absolutely appreciated, so thank you very much. Before we lean in, I also want to give respect to all of our educators, and by educators I mean our teachers, our counselors, our support staff, our classified teams, and our administrators. John Steinbeck said that art, one of the highest forms of art, may be teaching because the medium is the human mind and spirit. So if you would indulge me with a large round of applause for the Alameda High School staff in its entirety. Seniors, your past 3 school years have been filled with uncertainty, challenge, and change, and your successful navigation of these last 3 years should entitle you to feel whatever combination of excitement, happiness, and let's say it, relief that you might be feeling now in an even more profound way. So I think today is a day to say congratulations for sure, but it's also a time to acknowledge that today is much more of a beginning than a conclusion. Many of you will have different paths, they'll look different, but there's no standardized way forward. So as long as you are moving forward, however incrementally, on a path to a healthy vision that you've created for yourself, I say that's okay. And with regard to that future and its design, I recognize, having once, long ago, been in possession of teenage ears myself, that in contexts like these, having adults like me stand up and offer you sayings like you can do whatever you want to do and you can be whatever you want to be, sometimes wears a little thin and maybe feels like it's drifting towards cliche or slogan. But the reality is the people who care about you the most tell you that most often because it's absolutely true. And anyone who tells you otherwise simply lacks the confidence and commitment at this point to dream accordingly for themselves. So graduates, if you feel inclined to reimburse yourselves, your families, your educators, consider doing 3 simple things. Keep your mind liberated and open so that you can dream in unlimited and unrestrained ways. Continue to learn, challenge yourself, take creative, intellectual, and constructive risks, because that's how you will build the muscle to pursue those dreams. And again, give no time to anybody who tells you your dreams cannot be attained. Does that mean someone's going to hand it to you? Absolutely not. Does it mean there's going to be a lot of hustle involved to getting where you want to go? Absolutely. But again, don't listen to anybody that says whatever you want to do can't be attained. And I hope that your dreams, in closing, include in their design the consideration of a greater good. There was a recent United Nations report that said that there are currently 1.2 billion people between the ages of 15 and 24 on the planet, which means that you graduates are part of a global congregation of young people that we are depending on, as so many of our speakers have said today, to move the needle forward in this thing called humanity. It's been touched on: climate change, housing, discrimination of all forms, unemployment, poverty, domestic terrorism, and armed conflict. The world will always need your voices, but now more than ever, we need your ambition and your action. The windbreak was not otherwise 18-point fonted script that I have, so forgive that awkward transition. Folks, I'll just close by saying we put these things out not to put pressure on you, but to express our faith in you. A faith that you will continue to build on the good things that the generations before you have built, but at the same time, to question and redesign and reimagine in those spaces and places where we may have thus far come up short. The writer James Baldwin said, people who say it can't be done are often interrupted by people who are doing it. So class of 2022, it is truly an honor to call you our class. We are extremely proud of you, and thank you for all your work this far. Best of luck and congratulations, gang.